everybody, and welcome back to another Just Enough Heshy show. This is going to be a very good show. We have some very interesting guests on the show. We're going to, of course, you guys, I'm going to introduce my beautiful co-host, Etty. How are you?
I'm doing great, Heshy.
Welcome back from your vacation to Tacos and Lacos. Where would you go?
Actually, I was in Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
Whatever, who cares? You went and got a suntan. I'm happy for you.
Yes,
Welcome back.
yes,
We missed you.
Thank you.
And we have your Honorable Senator David Strobin, a legal, brilliant mind, a wonderful man. I've met him many, many times, and I always loved you. I mean, you're just besides you're good looking, but besides that, we won't even talk about that. But you're a good man. We're going to hear some good things from him, and we're going to enjoy it. And then I have a little guest for us. He's called the Hasidic Rapper. Are you going to enjoy him? Say hello, Hasidic Rapper.
Hello. Could you hear me?
We're gonna have just for your knowledge to all my guests and co-hosts tonight. I tell you every week on the show I say the same thing, and I know my listeners are bored of it, but I don't care. I say a quote and a joke. Nobody laughs at it. I know, but if you laugh at it, I get you a extra bottle of water. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna start the show with a couple of little commercials right now. We're gonna have a lot to talk about on this show. But our first thing is Chamula Jewelers. They're located at 944 Kings Highway, 718-336-1980. Chamula Jewelers, a family-owned business for over 40 years, specializing in diamond engagement rings, trinity bands, and diamond jewelry, or bringing your own jewelry to redesign and freshen up. Chamula Jewelers.
We've got this sparkle for you.
We've got the sparkle for you. You got that down. Tehila Tishler, TEETEESTYLES.com. Tehila at TEESTYLES.com. 718-675-6842. 718-675-6842. She does your hairs, your makeup, all wedding events, parties. She really makes you look very good. I'm very proud of her. She's wonderful. And then, of course, we have Green Line Building Solutions. And I just did something great today. I was really super. We do vacate orders, plans, permits. David, I just want you to know, we help people get into their homes. We fight the building department, and I want to scream at you about that because a lot of those laws that were implemented, they torture our people in the Brighton Beach communities, in Borough Park, Flatbush, Midwood, and this is just my communities. I work in Midwood, Bronx. The torturing, what the DOB does and what your buddy, Chaim Deutsch, did to us last week, I want to scream at you about that because I am very upset about it. But anyways, as we talk, Green Line Building Solutions, located at 5318 16th Avenue on the corner of 16th Avenue, 54th Street, 718-871-0382, 718-871-0382. Just come on in, walk in, make an appointment. We're always around. Again, 16th Avenue, 54th Street, 718-871-0382. Then we have this wonderful lady, Faggy. She has a place called Fallon's Corp, 3132 Bedford Avenue, on the corner of Bedford Avenue and Avenue J. Beautiful clothing for adults, teens, children. Etty, I really went in there. Wonderful place, really cool.
Yeah, Linda told me.
Very, very nice. Guys, go to her. She's on the corner of Bedford Avenue and Avenue J, 718-325-6667, 718-325-6667, or dial 718-FALLONS, which I like better, 718-325-6667, and you get in there. Then you just walk 5 blocks to my friend at Wolf's Grocery, a good guy.
Nicest
and
guy.
the coffee's very fresh. He's been charging me for it. Usually I get a freebie.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I know.
Well, times have changed.
I know, right, cheapo. Wolf's Grocery, 2362 Nostrand Avenue, on the corner of Avenue J and Nostrand Avenue, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Call them. They make delivery, 718-252-1863, 718-252-1863, on the corner of Avenue J and Nostrand Avenue, 2362 Nostrand Avenue. $25 car rental on the corner of 18th Avenue, Coney Island Avenue. Get into a car Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Stay in for $25 as long as you want. Minivans, $35. He helps you collect the money from the insurance company if you had an accident. 718-851-2000, 718-851-2000, or 800-2495-2495, which means $25 a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways,
how about the show? If anybody wants to call
right,
in, the number is...
What's the number, Eddie?
718-303-9090.
Ask any question.
Anything.
My friend David Strobin will take any question. He's not scared of us because if he's sitting with me, he's for sure not scared of us. David, you didn't even say hello to my people.
I did not say hello yet because, we got to help our business.
Did I just say you're good looking too?
Hey, listen, you're not running for office. We need to lie about it.
Soon, my brother. Next election, councilman.
Exactly.
I'm
You
coming
gotta
knocking on your
support
door. 718-303-9090. You can watch the show on YouTube at Just Enough Heshy, Facebook Just Enough Heshy, and you can always come see it later on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for my joke and quote before we start the show. Etty, my quote for the day. Are you ready for this?
I'm listening.
And I made this quote because of David Strobin, and I show, because I want to show you that he was a good leader, a good man, a man who cares about his community, but not only his community, everybody. You were able to knock on his door and knock him down, and he took it like I never saw him angry. I really never did. You were just a good man. I'm not trying to build you up. I appreciate you. I'm jealous of you.
Yeah, and your son, both of your sons were involved in my campaign. They saw me on a daily basis for a long time.
He likes you. Avram always tells me, my oldest son, he says, I liked it. When I told him I'm on the show, I said, come on over. He says, oh, you're telling me the last minute. I said, I forgot, I did forget, but I had it on my calendar. Anyways, my quote is based on him. Leadership means duty and honor. It means character. It means listening from time to time. And this is who David Strobin is. A man who listens, a man who leads, and a man who has honor. I'm very proud of you, and you do so much good. Anyways, I know you guys are not going to like the joke, and I don't really care, but I'm going to tell you the joke anyways. When I was in college, I was taking a psychology class at Brooklyn College, and I was assisting a professor to get some extra, credit points for the semester. So the professor asked me to enlarge a big chart for an upcoming class.
Mm-hmm.
So I called down the copy room and told him who I was. And then I asked him, I said, sir, can I blow something up down there? And after a pause, he said, I think you're looking for the chemistry lab, Mr. Tischler. You understand?
I get it.
Wow, you finally laughed at my joke. That is
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you. Anyways, everybody, 718-303-9090. David, I want to start with you. You are, first of all, I want to ask you a question about Madoff. You know, Mr. Madoff, we're going to take a call in a minute. We're going to put that call on hold, Dimitri.
He's my second least favorite Bernie.
And I'm going to scream at you about that in a minute, but let's take a quick call anyways. Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, David, and David Strobin, and Etienne, the Hasidic rapper.
Good evening, Big H and guests. This is Eddie from Dyker Heights.
Eddie,
Hi,
my
Eddie.
favorite caller. How are you, Eddie? You didn't even give us a chance to give you some subjects. We have the senator here. I wanted you to scream at him. How
I
are
wanna
you, my
hear
No,
brother?
I don't want to scream at anybody. I want to put in a good word. I heard on the news, on one of the talk radio programs, that the Orthodox Jewish community gave a check, $43,000, to the family of the patrolman Seals, who was killed by the two blacks in Jersey City when they rampaged into that store.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You mean the guy that was working?
Yeah,
there?
no,
the one
No,
that
he was
killed.
cops,
killed.
right?
Yeah, he was a patrolman.
Right.
He was killed
Patrolman
when he
before.
came across the two of them. Prior to that, at some distance away.
Yes,
But-
near a
but that-
cemetery or something.
That's
Yeah,
right. But they were very kind to them to collect and provide funds to the family of the bereaved.
Well,
Yeah.
he deserves it. He was there helping all of us.
And
All of us. Literally, without people like him.
And people
Well,
should know about this. People should know there's such kindness in return for for gratitude.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I get Eddie. I have a question for you. I know that you and me are voting Republican,
Absolutely.
and Senator David Strobin's going to vote Republican for Trump. Are you a Trump man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Not only you. And I'm talking to the senator. You are a Trump man. You
Oh, yeah, of
support.
course.
See, you come out, you support him. Our local guys don't. Eddie, I want to ask you a question. Let's go back to the Democrats.
Hey, listen, your pun joke was very good.
I love you. I love you. And you're the only one that laughs. I don't know.
They're nice and simple and amusing.
Etty, I have to pay for it to laugh at my jokes. But I want to ask you a question. Out of the Democrat people, I'm telling you, Sanders is whacked out of his brain. You know what I mean? I mean, you heard him screaming, free this, free that.
Marxist,
From all the
Marxist.
crazies of those Democrats, and I'm happy that Warren is losing. My question to you is, I like, what's her name? Klobuchar?
Klobuchar.
Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar.
I think from all of them, she has the most common sense. But here's my problem. I understand when you're running for re-election in your own thing, but when you're running for president, shouldn't she give up a seat? You know, she said on television, now I don't have to be locked down at my Senate seat to do work to run the government. I can now run for office. So she's collecting a paycheck and running for office. Do you
That's
think
right.
that's fair?
The taxpayers are subsidizing
It's
her.
not fair. I understand when
Yeah.
you're running for re-election, yes, you need the time and you're running in your own state or your own county. But when you're running a different state, you're running all over the world, you're not in your own place, you shouldn't be allowed.
Another reason not to vote for her.
Who do you like from the Democrats if you had to put up somebody?
Heshy, I want the person who would present the easiest challenge for Donald to beat, and I think that's crazy, Bernie.
Even though he has a lot of support, a lot of money.
I think they're a bunch of young brains of mush who obviously have been brainwashed in college.
I know. And what about Bloomberg? Bloomberg $300 million, and he's planning on spending $1 billion. David, $1 billion. I don't understand.
Listen, I never voted for Bloomberg. Even when he was a pretend Republican, I was voting on the C line and the conservative line because, to be honest, look at what he was doing. He was paying off the Republican Party in every one of the 5 counties, $50,000 a year just to get the Republican line. That is pure corruption. I mean, imagine if Donald Trump did that. Imagine if Donald Trump went to Democrats and said, I will give you money. You give me your line. You know what would happen? He would go to jail.
Don't even come up with a new thing, because now they're trying to blame him to talk to the Attorney General. They're making a new investigation. It just doesn't end. A new investigation on why he spoke to the Attorney General, which was not even true.
Well, to be honest, the United States does not have free speech because apparently we canceled the First Amendment. You're not allowed to tweet anymore.
If you're a Republican.
If you're a Republican, yeah. If you're a Democrat, you can do whatever you want. You can call somebody to kill the president. Nobody cares. Yeah. But if you're a Republican, there's no free speech anymore. So somehow, if you tweet online that you don't believe that somebody deserves the sentence, which happens every day, every time somebody gets arrested, there's someone who loves that person, his wife, parents, whoever, who says, look, whoever does not belong in prison. That is a normal conversation. That gets tweeted, that gets said, but somehow if you're Trump, you got to go to prison. Maybe we'll give him a death penalty for it. I don't know. We'll send him to an island. Wow. We'll keep him there like Napoleon. I don't know what we're going to do with him.
Don't give Pelosi any ideas, David.
For our listeners.
Eddie, you are wonderful.
Listen, Heshy, you know, I hate to admit this, but when Bloomberg was running in 2009, I don't remember who his opposition was, but it was terrible.
Thompson.
Since he was on the Republican line, I actually worked on his campaign along with in Bay Ridge, because the opposition was with. And I must admit, he had the most delicious lunches, and always very carefully done to lower. No pizzas and soda as usual. But he did. There are a few things he did do. The 311 number is a terrific idea. And the numbers as they decrease on the traffic lights as you're driving. But there's a number of other things that I wouldn't care to have him managing for me.
Well, I'm going to complain about those traffic lights in a minute.
Okay, Heshy, have a good night.
You too.
Bye, Eddie.
You too.
Bye.
You too. David, first of all, I have a problem with the, like he said, the traffic lights. I mean, you were in local politics as well. I understand.
I'm not anymore.
Okay, but I have a question for you. Yeah. I mean, you're a lawyer, and here's my problem. The city council just keeps making new laws whenever they feel like it, whatever they want, and nobody can stop it. A new law was just passed, and here it is. If you get 5 red light cameras, that means if I lend you my car, and remember, on Ocean Parkway used to be 30 miles an hour. Now it's 25. And if you go a little quicker, or the camera doesn't care if a cop stops you in middle on Avenue J and Ocean Parkway, so the red light camera blinks anyways. If you get 5 of them, they're allowed to boot your car and take away your car. 15 of them. That means if I lend my car out, if I'm
over what time period?
A 1 year period.
Okay.
I'm telling you now that I drive around this city all day long from inspections and going. I drive up and down Ocean Parkway, but sometimes I go 29. Sometimes I go 31. It's hard when you're going on the Prospect Expressway. It's 45, then it turns into 30 in a minute. It's crazy, and they keep changing the laws to make it harder. A new law, storefronts. I don't understand. My question to you is, when you guys pass this legislation, you guys passed 40, 50 pieces.
Let me just say, I have nothing to do with the city council.
I got you. But even in the assembly, why don't they read the whole bill? How could they pass 40
no, they
pieces?
just want to stand in front of the camera and say, I am here to save the children. I am here to do. You know what the founding fathers wanted to do? They wanted to protect us from the government.
Yes.
If you read the Constitution, in particular, the whole reason why we have the 10 amendments, the first 10 amendments, which is the Bill of Rights, the whole reason behind it was to protect us from the government. The government is not supposed to be your mommy that does all the things that you ever wanted in your life. The government is a danger. That's how all the founding fathers, Washington and Jefferson and Madison and every one of them, viewed it. It's a danger. And what we have right now is this nanny state, where we have 48 and a half Democrats out of 51 in the city council, because there's one Republican who sides with the Democrats more than he really should. So that's why I say it's like 48 and a half out of 51. But the reality is that they keep on passing every crazy law. And if you think that de Blasio is nuts, Well, you probably don't know our city councilmen and they're not usually from Southern Brooklyn where we are, but in most of the rest of New York City, it's outright communists. I mean, these are people who genuinely believe in, I mean, it's beyond communism. At some point, it's like some sort of national socialism where they combine socialism with this racist nationalist.
They control us to the point where, do you know the Department of Buildings? I have a complaint against them. Why? They control our lives. They make there's nobody to oversee
They
them.
believe that they know better, and meanwhile, they haven't made a dollar in their life nine times outside of
most of them don't even have licenses. We have engineers. I have a guy today, for example, who failed an inspection. Why? Because he didn't pay a fine for not filing the paperwork in time. The man filed permits, paid plans, paid thousands of dollars, filed
everything.
And the government said, well, I said, but the man is shut down. He followed every rule. The reason he didn't file his paperwork because you didn't let him file his paperwork till the inspection. So the two chiefs were arguing, and we still lost. They don't care.
Wow. Well, that's one of the reasons.
And we complained to our city councilman. We complained to our assemblyman. We complained to our state senators. Mr. Felder, nowhere to be. I really don't know what Mr. Felder does besides take pictures and go to Albany. I have no idea. Do you ever talk to this guy?
No, we don't. I mean, he's done some good things, but we don't necessarily maintain a good relationship between Simca and I don't think we've spoken since 2002, and it was not overly not 2002. I'm sorry, 2012, and I don't think it was overly pleasant at that point.
I agree with you because I know him. I remember, and he just always hides. He doesn't help with jail reform, with people coming home from prison.
Well, to be fair to Simca, he's in a bad spot because when he ran as a Democrat, but he sided with Republicans. He caucused with Republicans, and Democrats want to make him pay the price for it, and so they do not want to. You still need to go to the leadership and ask the leadership to do something. And I think he's on the outs a little bit right now. And it's not necessarily because of him, not at all because of him, actually. It's because Republicans just lost 8 seats in the Senate. And they had a 1-seat majority before that. And he was the one who provided them with that 1-seat majority. And then they had this crushing defeat where they lost 8 seats. And when you talk about a legislature that's only 63 seats total, that's a massive swing where Democrats, went from down 1 to being up.
We're going to take a call for you. You're on the air with Senator David Strobin, Etty, Uncle Heshy, and the Hasidic rapper, which we're going to hear from soon. Don't worry, we didn't forget about you. Hasidic rapper, you have a shout out for anybody, by the way?
No microphone.
Oh, no, you do. I hear you beautifully.
Oh, really? You do? It's just my headphones. I'm so sorry.
Just say hello anyways.
Yo, guys. Yo, what's up? It's Hasidic rapper with the one and only Heshy Tischler. We love you, Heshy.
Got it. And a shout out for my little granddaughter, Miri and Ellie. What's doing? You're on the phone with hello, how are you?
Yeah, Uncle Heshy and Esty and David Strobin and rapper. Listen, Bloomberg, he uses the word pander as if he's not a panderer. He's very bold. When I hear Bloomberg say pandering, it amazes me. Back in July 2011, when Bloomberg was mayor, he called up the I can say the call letters. He called up WCBS-FM, the big FM oldies station, to congratulate them on their anniversary as an oldies station. And listen, he gave, as his example of a great oldies artist, he gave Cat Stevens. Cat Stevens had either 2 or maybe 3 hits, and of course, Cat Stevens is a Muslim convert. His new name is Yusuf Islam.
Wow.
Let's just point out that he's not even a convert to the mainstream Islam. He's a convert to the kind of Islam that your average Muslim out there will not recognize as like a normal Islam. These are the kind of people, kind of like the Black Hebrews. We don't recognize them as Jews.
Black Hebrews are dangerous.
Why did
that's the kind of people that he converted to?
Sorry, why did Bloomberg choose Cat Stevens? I know Cat Stevens is British, which is already the British invasion and everything, but this was in July 2011, and it was on tape, and they played it over the course of that weekend in July 2011. Bloomberg calling up the big FM oldie station to congratulate them, mentioning Cat Stevens. Who else could be an example of a great oldies artist?
Well,
where do you
I'm
want
not,
to start?
I am not a Bloomberg fan. You know, yesterday, all over, David, all over the news, and Etty, do you know that they found comments that that Bloomberg was a racist? He made racist
Yes.
remarks.
Really?
And
Oh, yeah.
how do you get away with that, Etty? How do you get away with that?
Because in
Democrat.
politics you can almost get away with anything.
No, that's not because of politics. It's because he's
But-
probably the strongest candidate to run against Trump and
Do
a
you
lot of
think?
the establishment.
So here's my question to you, both you and Larry. Do you think that he has a chance, even first of all, to be nominated, and do you think he can beat? So you're saying he could beat Trump? Is that possible?
I think you could beat Trump. I think you could steal some of that borderline vote, some of that centrist vote. I do think that he would have some appeal. We've seen him have that appeal in New York to some degree.
Will he
Not
get?
some
Will he get the
degree.
nomination? He's on the bottom, even though I hear he's climbing, but he doesn't have enough.
That's
right now,
the other part that I don't believe he's going to get the nomination because the Democrat Party over the last 5-6 years has gone off the deep end. I mean, think of
Oh, God.
Senator Patrick Moynihan. Think of Lieberman. Think of what's his name, Lautenberg in New Jersey. All of those people were very mainstream, good people. We were proud to have Senator Moynihan represent New York,
Right.
regardless of what your political party was at the time. Think of the people that we see right now. These are people who are not sure what gender they are.
I know.
These are people who want to open American borders and make us pay for healthcare and everything else of every single person in the world. I saw a poll one time, and based on the poll, if you prorate it, and it was across many, many nations, about 4.5 billion people in the world would like to move to the United States.
Wow.
You open the borders, and
I
mean, we're
can't
gonna
blame
have fun
them.
here.
And-
No, I can't blame the people who want to come to the United States. I'm an immigrant,
I don't.
but the reality is that you cannot have 4.5 billion people showing up in the United States.
Wow.
bottom line, Democrats have turned all the
Right.
way around.
Leftist,
They are
yes.
now.
Larry, who would you pick if
So-
if who would be the best candidate from the Democrats if you had to vote for one?
It would be Bloomberg because the Democrats would clean, with the help of the liberal media, they would clean up Bloomberg, making him just like a I don't know if it was the rapper or it was David Strobin who was talking about everybody's the same. The Democrats would make Bloomberg a candy bar that can appeal to everybody with the help of the liberal media, and that's all the Democrats need. I'm afraid of the Democrats.
Oh, I am too.
Right.
Larry, you're wonderful. Thank you so
Great
much
call.
for calling into the show. Yes, you're wonderful.
Okay.
Take care, Larry.
Bye, everybody.
Right. 718-303-9090 if you want to call into the show. 718-303-9090.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Heshy. So, what would America look like if Bloomberg, right now, if he took the nomination versus Bernie Sanders? What do you think?
I think Bloomberg would run the United States more or less the same way that Obama ran the United States, move it moderately to the left. I think he himself is less liberal than Obama, but this is, 12 years later, and the United States is massively more liberal. Not the United States, but the Democrat Party is massively more liberal today than it was 12 years ago. So he would be probably about the same as Obama, and except he would do more damage. Well, what I perceive as damage,
See,
anyway.
I understand
Compared to Trump.
you.
Right.
See, I understand you guys in this room all understand Bloomberg. We're city folk. We understand money. We understand jobs. We understand. But the guys in the Midwest, the guys in the South.
Are you telling me that a plumber from Michigan does not have as his main concern the difference between the 64th and the 65th gender?
I don't know. I
That's
believe
not his main concern over there.
My question: are there plumbers in Michigan?
Stop that. That was a good joke, by the
Thank
way,
you.
Auntie.
Thank you.
I gotta let you have the joke. I believe that the guys in Alabama, Kentucky, a lot of those guys who are below the poverty line, and that is a big part of America. Those guys really don't even know Bloomberg. They don't care. They need help, and I believe Trump is coming out there and helping them. And I don't think Bloomberg is. I think he's more big city. I think he's more with the big picture. Trump, of course, is with the big picture. But I think he helps. He really goes through all kind of poverty and racial lines. I think he really, when I see him speak, he's one of us. He attracts everybody. He talks. He doesn't talk down to us. I believe Bloomberg does.
I think if you go into most of the United States, as you drive, you see Trump signs. You do not see Bloomberg, Biden,
Yes.
Not yet. Thank
Sanders,
God. Oh, thank
whatever
Biden.
signs.
Thank God he's gone.
Yeah, yes.
Anyways, Hasidic
But
rap.
as
I
far
want to
as-
ask you. Yeah, go ahead. I want to. You finish up. Go ahead.
I wanted to answer your question about Bernie Sanders. I
Yeah.
think if Bernie Sanders comes to power, I think it's time to get the hell out.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, another
You know, I
Venezuela.
I've heard that before, and I'm scared. This is the first time I actually am taking it serious. I am scared of Bernie
I've
Sanders.
never said this before.
And Warren, what about Warren?
Warren, she's
She's
going to
out.
get her 6% or whatever she was going to get. But I mean, I think you would get probably more than whatever she was going to get. She is going to get. I mean,
I was a minute.
I
I was scared of her that she had a chance for a while in the beginning, but I'm so
Yeah.
happy her numbers are so down. I don't think she's gonna make it.
She's
David.
incredibly unlikable. She just screeches
Oh.
at you. She sounds like this person that you just want to stay away from. She just doesn't
But didn't
like
she
people.
get the message that she only got 8% and 10%? Doesn't she get the message? Get out.
Oh
We
no,
don't
that
want
just means that all of us are sexist and we need to be re-educated.
Right.
Okay,
Right. I
thank
have a question, David. One more question about
Sure.
this. So, from what I understand, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk.
No,
Talk
no
about
problem.
yourselves.
I want to go to the Hasidic
talk
rap for
about
a
it
second.
after.
Yo, yeah. So I have a question for you. First of all, you have a show upcoming. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
upcoming show, March 1st. Hi, Udid, in 284 Rodney Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11211. 284 Rodney Street. Be there. Want to see
How do
you.
we reach you, by the way? By email?
Oh, you could follow me on Instagram and send me a message. I reply to every single message. I'm very good at that.
How do we get it? Just type in Hasidic rapper.
But it's instead of a CH, it's a HASSIDIC
Hasidic.
_ RAPPER. Hasidic rapper.
Do you have a song for us, by the way?
I do. Oh, I gotta stand up for this one.
Oh, he's got to stand up.
Alright.
everybody.
You guys
Everybody
ready?
watching. We're ready. Go ahead. David, sit back. Hold on tight. Man. Have you ever listened to rap, David? You're too old. You and me, do we even like rap?
I
Depends
don't.
who-
You
There-
have
There-
little
there were
kids.
a
You
couple-
must love rap. You have no choice.
Look, there was a time when it was like rap was popular, but I don't know. It was just like
Oh God,
Oh.
David's too old. Oh God,
I am too old.
hear David saying it's not. He's
Why
not
don't
old.
we?
I know. Go ahead, my boy. Go ahead. Here we go.
Yo, Heshy is humble. He calls himself just enough Heshy. But Heshy, the people say you got to change your slogan. We can't get enough of you, Heshy.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Oh, you're gonna be my senior when I run for
Change your
council.
slogan.
By the way, David, I am running for city council against Kalman Yeager next year. I'm going to start
Well,
taking off in
congratulations.
August. I'm going head to head with the comment. I know you're going to say I have no chance, but you know what? There's nowhere for him to be seen. You know, I have a problem. You know, $1 billion, and I've been bitching about this for a long time. $1 billion has been given to de Blasio's wife to run, which Chaim Deutsch runs the committee to oversee her. $1 billion for mental illness, mental health. Nothing has been given out. Now, finally, they gave out $43 million somewhere in East Flatbush, Bushwick, New York, for single mothers, which is nice, to help them with their problems. Very good. What about Brooklyn? Well, I mean, what about Borough Park, Bensonhurst, Flatbush? What about Bushwick, Crown Heights? We all have women all over. We all have postpartum depression. We all have single mothers or young families that have kids.
Bipolar.
Yeah, bipolar. We have postpartum depression. How come you only gave over there? Because de Blasio and his wife are they don't care about anybody but themselves and whatever makes them look good. We have to not only help the poor women, we have to help women that have money who are scared, who don't know where to go. They don't know where to turn. And places like that should have been given out to all of us. I don't know how they distribute this money, a $90 billion budget, and I don't see it being used correctly. I mean, didn't you ever complain about stuff like that?
well, that was what I was complaining about. That, but to be honest, not even that. The government needs to butt out, and the government needs to lower our taxes, and then we'll be able to go out and spend those taxes on what we need. It shouldn't be that. Well, what if I don't have PTSD or whatever? Actually, a friend of mine does. A friend of mine, he fought and he
It's very
did 2
serious.
tours of duty in Iraq. He fought in Fallujah. He was actually a machine gunner in Fallujah, and he's seen his friends die. He was
Wow.
repeatedly shot at because guess what? When you are a machine gunner, what does the other side want to do? You are the one they want to kill the most because you got the most bullets, so you are the one getting shot at the most. And so he's suffering from PTSD still. It's been out for 8 years now. But what if I don't? What if I have another issue? What if I need to instead pay the mortgage, or what if I need to instead pay for private school or something around there? Whatever it is, I can decide on my own.
Well, de
Do not-
Blasio wants to tax us 70%, not 20 or 30,
Well, to be fair, it's
70%. He's
He's
crazy.
lying about it because it's probably over 90. Because when we get to 70, they will say that it's more. I promise you, there's never been a point where the liberals went, okay, that's enough. And you know that because our good friend Bernie from this neighborhood, from Midwood Flatbush,
Listen to this. Go ahead.
$60 trillion is his budget.
Yes. Yes.
It's just
On top of our normal budget, just so you know, it's not 60 million, it's not 60 billion, it's 60 trillion.
But how do you? I mean, people actually believe him. They were cheering him when he said.
That's what I want to say.
How could they? I mean, listen
It's
to
a
me.
snake oil.
Are we all crazy? I mean, but these people are crazy. I mean,
But why are these college students already being indoctrinated into
Because they
socialism
don't make them
this
do
and
math.
thinking that this is the answer to everything?
They don't let them do math. It's very easy. Our budget is about $4 billion. $4 trillion and change. The national budget.
Mhm.
You cannot have more
More than the
that.
national
Like
budget,
you
right.
can have a little bit more. You can. I mean, you have some deficit spending, but it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 10%, and at some point, that's it. That they will not let you borrow more, and if you borrow too much, you will get Greece, you will get Argentina, you'll get all those examples. That's what will happen. And in their mind, let's tax the rich. Okay, first off, they don't even have enough money to cover all of that. But second, you have to understand something about the rich. When you're a normal person, you're a teacher, you're a doctor, whatever it is, even if you make a good salary as a doctor, you can still only work maybe half an hour to an hour from your house, right? Like that's as far as you can go.
correct.
When you are Bill Gates, when you are Warren Buffett, you don't care where you invest.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter where you are. So if they tax you to death in New York, what Amazon does is it moves
Jeff Bezos.
someplace else.
Yes.
Because when you are super wealthy, you can just go, I don't need this. I can invest in Ireland and Israel and Mexico and China. It doesn't matter. I can just turn around and go to some place that is more helpful. So yes, let's raise taxes on the rich. And what will happen is they will
They'll
stop
run.
investing and collapse the economy, and we'll be sitting
What,
there.
what do you think about the economy? Are we doing good or are we dreaming? Because all the Democrats say I promise you, I hear the Democrats saying the economy is not good. Please tell me that I'm crazy.
Well, I think, look, people know whether it's good all by themselves. Do you have a job? Is your salary higher now than 3 years ago? What about everyone else that you know? Because the reality is, what is it, 3.6%? We've never had more people working there. It's not only the percentage, it's also the work,
New job.
the job participation.
Right.
That's what matters, because if a lot of people gave up working just because you can't find a job, so you're like, oh man, I don't have anything to do, I'll go to college, or I'll be a stay-at-home wife. Well, you wanted to work, it's just that you gave up, so they don't count you. You're not part of that 5, 6, 7%.
We're going to take another call. Hello, you're on the air with Senator David Strobin, Etty, Uncle Heshy, and the Hasidic rapper.
Hello.
He hung up the phone. Not about, I want to go to something else, another subject now. The coronavirus, thank God there's none of it in New York, which I'm very good. In China, they have 1,200 cases,
They say
1,200
800
deaths or
and-
whatever.
Right.
But there's something even worse. There's 20 million infected people, 12,000 deaths already this year, and it's just a plain flu. I mean, if that's hurting us, we're making a big deal of the corona, which is a very bad thing. Don't get me wrong, but
the flu is preventable. Coronavirus, there is no cure for. So the flu, we could do something about prophylactically. We can get our flu shot. We can get to the doctor as soon as we have symptoms. Coronavirus just hits a person, and there is no cure, and eventually death.
I was listening.
No. I think it's only 4 or 5% who died. It's most people don't die of it.
With what, coronavirus or
Yeah,
flu?
no,
Well,
neither
it's
one.
just the beginning. No, there are so many deaths though from it already.
Well, one death is too much. 800 of them,
Yes.
but most of them are in China.
That's what we know of. This is from communist China. We really don't know the numbers.
Well, yes, that's
Yes.
part of it.
Mhm.
That China is probably hiding a lot of the death.
But there's a
you cannot
lot of
trust them.
people that went to China, the World Health Organization, WHO. We're going to take that call. Go ahead. Hello, you're on there with Etty and Senator Strobin and the Hasidic Rabbi.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Who's this?
This is Jack.
Hey, Jack. What's up tonight, Jack?
Good. I actually calling it to see when you're going to actually give some attention to my boy, Hasidic rapper.
Oh, we're going to give him attention right now. We let him sing a song. but
We
we're gonna
already
ask him
did
now.
that.
We got to hear some more. Ask him some questions. Life is good. Let's go.
Life is good. You already know. We're here with Heshy and the senator, right?
I'm
Is
dropping
that
that.
David Strobin, yes.
David Strobin. So I want to ask you, how can we
All right,
pay
Jack.
off our
Wait,
national
I want to
debt?
ask. Oh, yeah, no. Go ahead. It's not. He's not gonna. But my question to you is, Senator, and here's my problem. You know that we have, like you were saying, the Constitution with all its laws. There are certain things that we can't override. What I understood, what I heard from a lot of the inside politicians was they have their own lawyers in the Senate, in the Assembly, and the Council that are so good that they can create legislation to override the Constitution. Is that true?
Well, that's what's been happening for the last close to 90 years.
That's not fair.
Basically, the Constitution has been thrown in the trash bin, and the government has been able to do whatever they want. So, for instance, from 1930 something to 1996, I believe, every time somebody made an argument that something affects interstate trade, it passed. Like the Supreme Court went, yes, it affects. So you could literally say, I'm going to ban you from drinking too much soda. And well, that affects interstate trade, because what if you were going to buy that soda in California and bring it to New York? Well, like, you didn't actually buy it in California. You bought it in the local grocery store a block away from you. But it could potentially affect interstate trade. So therefore, it will pass.
But times have changed the past 300 years, so you have to also, allow a
No,
little.
no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
We have amendments to the Constitution.
Right.
And we have a process. It's not we will have those judges who are those monarchs who can just pass whatever laws that they choose to pass, where they pretend that founding fathers believe that. We have a process, which is an amendment. You pass an amendment and you say that this is banned, this is legalized, whatever it is, and you're welcome to do that. You can do whatever you want. At one point, they banned.
What they do at is they make new legislation without doing the amendment and go around the Constitution, and that's very wrong. We're going to take another call.
Yes.
Hello, you're on the air with Uncle Heshy and my crew today. Hello, and he hangs up again. Not a problem.
Right. So they're looking for loopholes, and somehow they're able to pass new laws based on that and calling it an amendment.
Well, the reason for it is that Republicans have been appointing judges up until Trump, who were maybe half of them were Republicans, and about half were either independents or Democrats. So you would have Supreme Court Justice Stevens, who was an extraordinarily liberal judge, be appointed by a Republican. You would have all sorts of other people. Well, she was appointed by Clinton.
Right.
But Judge David Souter was appointed by George H.W. Bush. Meanwhile, liberals are batting 100%. Every single judge, like RBG and so on, every single judge that they've ever appointed at any level is a hardcore liberal. So what happens if you play basketball where one team scores on both nets and one team scores on only one net? What do you think happens? That team will lose. You cannot be quote unquote fair when the other team is not fair.
Right.
Like let's score and let's have them score, and then we'll have kind of an even split on the Supreme Court, because what we have is Justice Roberts, who was appointed by George W. Bush. He gave us Obamacare. Right. We at one point we had 6 out of 9 judges be appointed by Republicans, and it gave us affirmative action. When 6 out of 9 judges were appointed by Republicans, we got affirmative action out of it. So
majority rules.
It's majority rules, and
I want to ask you a legal question now. You help people all the time who get in trouble, not in trouble. I know you're not going to like this question, but Bernie Madoff, you've heard of him. He's done a lot of bad things.
The other Bernie.
He now wants to get out on compassionate due to that he's dying. I as a lawyer, I mean, it's your job. I'm coming to you. Do we let him out? Do we feel bad? I mean, the man is a human being. He's dying. He did hurt lots and lots of people across this country, organizations. What do you say about this? Do we let him out? Don't we let him out? Do we care? I mean, look at Gotti. We didn't let him out. We let him die in jail.
Well, there is a difference. John Gotti killed people.
Yeah.
Well, Bernie Madoff did too, not directly killing them, but a lot of people unfortunately killed themselves because of
legally it matters.
Right.
That said, I just don't see it happening because not enough. There's not going to be any support for him. There's no sympathy for him. I mean, what's the sympathy level there? You robbed a whole bunch of people. There's universities, there's nonprofits, there's all sorts of organizations that couldn't give out scholarships to some poor kid who was gonna go to, let's say, Yeshiva University. That's one of the victims, right?
There his son who killed himself too.
There was his son. Well, his son
died by suicide. Yes.
But you have all those people who suffered, who may not even be investors. If you were some kid applying to a college that was going to give you a grant, and now you cannot afford to do it, and instead of going to a good school, now you have to go to.
So then here's my follow-up question to you. You know, and I know there are drug dealers, murderers, just like Trump said, because he's upset about Roger Stone not, getting a 9-year sentence,
Yeah.
who get less time for killing people, for raping people, than and selling drugs in the street than Madoff. Why are we letting them out of jail? And don't get me wrong, because I go visit the jails every other week, and I do have I know what they've done is wrong, some of them, but again, my job is they are human beings, and we try to make even people in jail just their lives a little bit easier because we want them to get better. We want them to be rehabilitated. That's what jail is
The
about.
judge overseeing Roger Stone's case is a liberal judge, was appointed by Clinton, if I'm not mistaken, or Obama rather, and she had an agenda, and this is why he's getting the
Yeah,
maximum.
there's no way that this would happen this way
Right.
had it not been an anti-Trump thing. Because,
Yeah.
first off, nobody busts down your door
Mhm.
for a white-collar crime.
Right.
Not even for a violent crime.
With
by and
guns,
large.
and he has a
That
deaf
doesn't
wife, by
happen.
the way.
Yes, and I do criminal work, and I do family work as an attorney. And I remember right about that time, I was driving with a friend of mine, and I got a phone call from a detective saying, "Well, when does your client want to surrender?" And there was actually a violent case. Like he was accused of violence, and the detective was like, "When?" And I said, "Well, I'm not available this day. My client's not available that day." And the detective worked with us, and the guy surrendered at 8 o'clock in the morning so that he can be processed the same day and not stay overnight. And then a friend of mine who was in the car and he was listening to this, he goes, "Why is the detective so nice?" I mean, I'm like, "No, that's how it's done.
Right.
If you don't try to run away, that's how it's done. They will call you. They will, unless it's like a murder.
So then
charge
why
or
did
something.
they do this? Why did, I mean, isn't
to
what
get,
they did
to
again?
get Trump, to get
Yes.
people around Trump? There's
But-
no way, no criminal defense or prosecutor, criminal defense lawyer or prosecutor will be able to cite a single other example of a case that looked like that. Even when they arrest murderers, even when they arrest child murderers. I have a client right now. He's actually not guilty. I know people think when lawyers say that, but it's actually the case.
I love you, Mr. Lawyer.
Yeah, we
I told
believe you.
Yes.
No, but there's DNA evidence that didn't match. He's on video someplace else. The only witness has misidentified him before. Fingerprints don't match.
Okay.
He
So
doesn't have
then
a prior criminal
why
record.
so why are they charging him then?
Because originally there was somebody who identified him, and that person who identified him has also said that she saw him before at a party, and at the time when she claimed that she saw him, he was actually in Washington D.C. on videotape dancing in a club.
And they're still going to arrest
And
him.
well, that came out later. I'm hoping this will get resolved soon. But regardless, when he
Amen.
got arrested for murder of a child.
And why did
So
Manafort
so
get
what-
solitary
That's not how
confinement?
he got. That's not
Right.
how it happened.
Right.
That case. That's not. They didn't bust down the door and bring in the
Like Manafort. Yes.
like all those people, like
Right.
Manafort, like Roger Stone, like
Yeah.
all those people.
Right.
With this guy who was accused of shooting and murdering a child. He didn't do it, but he was accused of that, and cops believed at the time he did it. That did not look like that. Murdering a child still does not result in that kind of an arrest.
Wow.
So here's another
Wow.
follow-up question for you. You know about the bail reform story. What is your opinion on the bail reform? No bail. Now they're changing the law again to give it more discretion. And I mean, I have no problem with the no bail thing. That everybody gets out with no bail if it's not a major violent crime.
Well, that's not
Except
true.
the guy who killed and raped that 92-year-old woman.
So I got you. My question to you is: they did come up with a good idea. Let's put an ankle bracelet on everybody that comes out with the no bail. This way, we're able to track them, and if they go
They don't
behind,
care about that. They'll take it off, please.
But
It's
if
a
they take it
stupid,
off, they're
stupid
screwed.
idea. Because guess what? In the 16 or so years that I've been practicing law, I've never once seen a person get bail on a misdemeanor or a low-level felony. So there's 5 types of felonies: A, B, C, D, E. The lower one, E felony. I've never actually seen that unless you failed to show up in court multiple times before. In fact, there were people who would just abscond from court. Then they would get picked up. They would get taken to court, and the judge would give them a warning to show up. This was before the law was changed. What they did now is that they're releasing people who are actually guilty of serious crimes. So just recently, I saw a case in court right here in Brooklyn. There was a gang-on-gang murder, execution-style murder, where they went over and they shot and killed someone. And the person who wasn't doing the shooting, one of the codees who was running away with the murder, who was helping the murderer actually hide the weapon, who was in the getaway car, that person just got out without bail.
Wow.
I saw that with my own eyes.
Wow.
That person got out, and that person admitted that he's a gang member.
So now here's
Wow.
about 2 days ago there was a guy who shot some cops on the street, and then he went into a police station and shot again. I know that this guy was nuts in his brain. I know this guy was sick. He was looking to be caught because nobody walks into a police station shooting. If anything, you shoot the cops in the street and run away. Assassination.
Unless they have a death wish.
Right. This guy had a death wish and was nuts in his brain. That means he was already sick, and they already said that he was in jail once before for some kind of attempted murder.
Mm.
Why weren't we watching him? What is wrong here? Does this guy who shot the cops, and don't get angry at me right now, David, my question is, does he deserve to go to jail? I mean, he's sick. There's no question that he
Look,
was sick.
the standard for whether or not you go to jail is whether or not you understand what you've done. Can you hear me?
Not yet. Tap your mic,
Hello?
I guess.
Can you hear me?
We're gonna take a call quickly. Oh, I missed it. Call back again, caller. Yeah, go ahead.
So the standard is not whether you have some mental illness. Like you'll have people show up and go, "Well, I am depressed."
We
so,
got you on the. Oh, he keeps hanging up on us. I don't know why.
so people will say, "I am depressed," or "I have PTSD," or whatever. That doesn't justify you committing murder or rape or anything of that sort. And now, where you need to not understand what you're doing. So think of a child, like a baby. If a baby grabs a woman's,
Whatever,
chest, we don't go, "Oh my God, that's sexual harassment," because that's a 2-year-old who doesn't understand what's happening.
Right.
So that's kind of the standard. You have to be like that baby, where you don't understand that what you're doing is wrong.
But can't anyone fake it after they do the crime or
No,
whatever?
well, generally they cannot, because, well, first off, you have to be very skilled at psychology, because you're going to go through the court. They will actually make you go through a court psychologist, not your psychiatrist, not your own.
But what about like this Muncie stabber? Right now he's claiming insanity.
Well, you can claim whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that it will succeed. It's very hard to make that succeed. By the way, if you want to claim insanity, you better have something to back it up. If you're 40 years old and the first time you've discovered that you're mentally ill is when you're facing 40 years in prison, people have doubts about it.
gotta
I've
be a
had a
paper
couple
trail.
of clients who actually did claim that, but in both cases they had a history of being diagnosed with that disease for years. They were on medication, and then there was one kid who was diagnosed with severe schizophrenia, among others, multiple other diseases. And at one point, he jumped into, he was off medication. He jumped into some car that was not his. He drove that car to a grocery store. He ran into a grocery store and stole some beef jerky or whatever, and then he ran out. Well, and the guy, he had a clear history of having severe multiple mental illnesses. So in that case, the court had pity on the guy, and he was checked out by the court psychiatrist and so on and so forth. Whereas if you just claim, "Look, I just stabbed my neighbor because I didn't like him. He was playing the music a little too loud, so I stabbed him," that doesn't count.
Well, Etty, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
You are from, and you're a beautiful young lady, you know what I mean? But I still know you for a long time. You and I really didn't like rap, but then we liked rap for a while. I remember you.
yeah,
My
we were
question
into
is,
disco.
I want you to ask the Hasidic rap, because
Yes,
you know more
I'm
about
gonna
rap,
ask
because you
him.
have some
Yo,
young teenage-
guys, you already know.
Yo,
Keep
wait.
it up. What do you say?
No,
Yo,
my question-
Hasidic rapper, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
Can
We'll
you
go back to Heshy's
sing
song.
like Nissan Black or better?
Could I sing like Nissan Black or better? Listen, Nissan Black is Nissan Black, and Hasidic rapper is Hasidic
Well, let's
rapper.
hear something good from you. Come on, let's go.
Hasidic rapper, what got you into rap? I mean, you grew up in a Hasidic community that does not rap. I mean, even though we have one or two, I mean, how did you even how do you even know about rap? I mean,
Right.
It just really spoke to me from a young age. I listened to music and all different kinds of music. I rather know Yiddish music. But
do you rap in different languages as
no,
well?
only English.
Only English.
Only English.
Wow.
But
I'd
it's
like to
really
hear
spoke to
something.
me. We didn't have to come to my concert. But
I'm coming to the concert. I'm coming to the concert.
I want to see you, Heshy.
You're gonna see me, and do I take a lighter and light it? Do we light it?
That's only when it's really like bottom and the gear and like
okay.
like
When
lovely
you shake it, you're
songs.
lovely,
Yeah,
not by rapping, right?
Yo, we come in with the crew.
Does
we
your
pull up.
rap? Now I've heard rappers sing, and they do a lot. They talk about killing, murder, and other stuff.
Drugs.
Right. So
Does your rap include any of that?
very interesting story. I started doing rap, and I put out like about two, three, Street, and then I felt a little bit bad because it's not really so Yiddish, and it's rap. It's not from the Yiddish. So I went to
not Jewish kind of rap.
exactly. It's a different style. It's like murder and guns and drugs.
Oh, you did do that.
No, I didn't.
Right.
But rap comes from that kind of place.
Okay.
So I went to the Calvert Ebb in Williamsburg, and I asked him if I'm allowed to do it. He said, "Keep it,
Keep it
on
Jewish.
a nice way. Keep it Heimish."
So what is your messages in a lot of your songs?
So my messages is fully inspiration. Believe in yourself. Keep climbing. Keep shooting. Keep going further. Not guns. Keep shooting like your spirit, and just go up.
Very good. Do you sing to the young as well, or only to the teenagers?
I don't sing to anybody. I sing to whoever wants to hear.
And you go through all kinds of cultural lines. I mean, do you think a black person or a Spanish person would understand your music?
I'll be very honest with everybody. I love everybody, but I merely speak to the Jewish people. But you could listen. I don't have a problem with you listening. I'll say what's up if I see you in the street. But my ideas are basically, the truth is a lot of it is from like the Bible and whatever, Gemudas, Fudum, Mitzvahs, Fudum. But a lot of it is like I see someone and he tells me something, or this guy, or something happens. My inspiration is from everyday movement, walking, seeing, hearing.
When you're going to sing about me, this special word they sing in the rap thing, fat. I know it doesn't mean fat, but when you say it about me, I'm going to be insulted because I'm fat.
Let me tell you something. You're not fat. Get over it.
I'm fluffy.
You're not fluffy. You're nothing. You're normal.
I love this guy. I love you. I would have to figure out.
Is he gonna sing about you
Maybe I
anymore?
Come on another Hasidic rapper show with Heshy.
You got it. You better do that. You better do
Okay.
that. I want to ask you a question, David. I'm going back to you now. What's her name again? The Blasio's wife. I think her McCrae, whatever.
Yes.
The gossip is Charlene McCrae. The gossip is she's going to be running for borough president. Oh my God!
I mean, when did we become a monarchy? I mean, at what point do we had enough Bushes and the Blasio?
I'll tell you what it is. We're not going to the polls. This is the problem. And this is just how AOC got into.
And I blame a lot of the people in the Russian community because they're very smart. They're hardworking. They pick themselves up from the gutter. But the guys in the Brighton Beach and the deep into the South Flatbush neighborhood, they just vote like this guy Kagan. I don't know if you like him. I don't like him. He just keeps going. He wants rent stabilization. He wants to have store owners not to be evicted if they don't pay the rent. The Russian community they don't put up anybody else. They just vote they're scared and they
vote their party.
Kagan ran 2 times. He didn't clear the primaries either of those times. So,
but he got reelected as Democrat as district leader again.
Oh, okay, but nobody actually knows what exactly that is.
I know
that's the chief neighborhood dog catcher position. And no offense to any of the district leaders, but you are just a volunteer in your political party. I mean, with a nice title.
But you get because of that, you get to elect judges, and you get to have side jobs as a liaisons, and they do.
Okay, listen, nobody who's never had a job. Anyone who's never had a job should not be running for office, like a real job. All those
like
jobs.
Bernie?
I am a fancy, exactly like Bernie. I'm a fancy liaison. Okay, go get a job, a normal job for like a restaurant, a medical office, a store, a school, something. Go get a job, a real job, and then you can talk about everything else. You know what? Even the Rabbanim who wrote provided commentary for Talmud, even Maimonides, all those people. Why is the hospital named Maimonides? Because he was a doctor, right? Rabbi Akiva. What was he? He had multiple actually real jobs. You have all those people talk about how yes, there will be religion, but yes, we will also have a job, and the same thing should apply to politics. And in fact, again, going back to the founding fathers, they all were talking about how you need to have a real job. George Washington was a general before he became a politician. A lot of them, they were involved in running their own private businesses. Franklin, what's his name? No.
Benjamin Franklin.
No, not president. One of the founding fathers.
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. I can't believe it. Old age is really kicking me hard.
Yeah, old age. I love
You're not old. You're not old. There's a lot of pressure. Don't worry about it.
It's kicking me early.
So do you think like Buttigieg, who's just mayor in Indiana over there?
He's not even a real mayor.
Right. Is he like, should he be up there?
He's not even a real mayor. No offense to.
Are you getting angry because he's gay?
I don't care if he's gay. He can be whatever he wants. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, transgender. Can you explain this to me? Do I have to give them rights?
I'm
I know you're scared to answer that
confused
question.
no, I'm still a little bit confused how many genders there are. Because
107.
I didn't do that well in math,
Yeah.
and apparently my math skills do not go up to that
It's
degree.
hard to keep up with
Because
that,
not only
yeah.
do I have to do like algebra, I have to do geometry, I think, with it also. So it's like it's too much.
Now I have no problem with the LGBTQ
Q.
now, but my question is, why did we have
Oh
to?
no, it's like 14
There's
more
more
letters.
after.
Right? Why did we have to give the gay community the right to get married? Marriage is between man and a woman. I've asked this question to a lot of my guests. Now, if the two gay people want to get married, create a civil union. You're a lawyer. You make a serious contract with money, with paperwork. Marriage is basically if there's a split, then you split your assets or whatever. You're a partnership. That's it you need. Why must they be married? Why can't they just do a strong civil union contract with a lawyer? And that isn't that the same thing? What's the whole
They
objective
want the
of marriage?
same rights as heterosexual.
They're having the same rights. You can't beat
Yes.
somebody up. You can't beat your partner or
Right.
your significant
Right.
spouse up. What, you want to be married so you get an equal part of a share? Fine, get a contract.
Heshy, could I answer?
Yeah.
There's something special about, we're legally married. There's something special about that, and they want that.
Yes.
But I don't think they're entitled to it. What do you say?
I think that fight.
I think we have bigger fish to fry.
And we lost.
At this point.
So
But
shut
of
up.
course,
Once you lose, you
I mean,
lose.
it's not that. It's let me put it this way. Think of it like World War II. The Russians lost the border,
Yeah.
but half a year later, the Germans are on the border of Moscow, not on the border of Soviet Union, and you need to recover a whole lot of Russian territory from the Germans before you can start talking about the Russian border. Okay, right now you're defending Moscow. You're not even defending the border region.
Right.
Our
So
show is
that's
coming to an
basically
end, so
where we
I
are.
have two serious questions for you. One, we all know the president was found not guilty on impeachment.
Yay.
How come our local politicians, Deutsch, which I know he went to one of the Trump meetings, Yeager, Felder, district leaders, nobody stood up and when they want to be heard and said, you know what, we support Trump. We're happy that he wasn't impeached. I didn't hear one of them say because they're Democrats. I mean, isn't it? I mean,
Well, in New York City right now, as I was saying before, Democrats completely dominate politics, and crazies are running the.
and they want us to vote for them. I mean, they want us to revote.
Those people. And I don't actually. I actually believe that they will. That they are more forced to take those positions.
Right.
Because one of the people that you mentioned, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to cause him problems. But at one point we were talking just on the phone, and he was cursing out the Democratic leadership, local Democratic leadership, in words that I cannot repeat on the radio, in the
Okay.
worst possible ways that you can do it. And unfortunately, the reality is that some people are just more powerful than you. We
And-
need a functional second party. If we had 48 out of 51 Republicans in the city council, it would also be a problem. But but at this point, we don't have that problem. The problem is that we have a bunch of socialists running New York City and New York State government. Even if you are a moderate Democrat, at this point, it's time to vote Republican, just because you need a two-party system. I don't care what two parties they are, but two parties are better than one
Right.
party.
Last 20 seconds. Hate crimes. Do we really have them, or is it just they were making a big deal on the little things so the politicians could look better? Is it? I mean, I know there's a lot of hate crimes. I know crime is up, but is it really there, or
And
is
is
it
there
just?
a downtick right
Right.
now?
Well, here's
or
the deal: the
uptick?
people that they're blaming for anti-Semitic hate crime in particular are not the people who are committing it. It's not the white supremacists who are out beating up Jews. There's videos of a lot of those assaults. Anyone can go online, like after you read it in newspapers, and when they will talk about that crime, and then they will not mention who committed the crime.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the second half of the article, they start talking about white supremacists, and they make it look like white supremacists are attacking
Yeah.
Jews. Go online and look at
Cover
the
up.
video of the actual crime. You can
Great.
almost always find it. We have tens of thousands of cameras in New York. You can find the actual assault. The white supremacists are not the ones who do
great,
it.
David.
Bottom
Effie,
line, look
David,
out for
thank
each
you.
other.
Heshy,
Look out
thank
for
you.
each
Effie,
other.
thank
and
you.
Effie, welcome
Yes.
back.
Thank
Hasidic
you.
rapper, thank you.
We'll be back.
I want to thank all my sponsors, Jamula Jewelers, who have the sparkle for you, 718-336-1980, 944 Kings Highway, TT Style, 718-675-6842, Green Line Building Solutions, 718-871-0382, and of course, Fallon, 718-325-6667, 3132 Bedford Avenue, Wolf's Grocery Store on the corner of Avenue J and Nostrand Avenue. Etty, who else do we got? Quickly.
We got a shout out to my twin boys in Israel, Adam and Gabriel. Happy 20th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Shout
Happy
out to my
20th
Mimi
birthday.
and Ellie. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show.
We love
Dimitri,
you.
you've been wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
you.
We'll be back
See you
next
next
Wednesday.
week.
David, we love you. You've been a great guest.
Excellent.